Good afternoon. This is Anthony Glenn checking in with the Sitrep podcast where we help you win in real estate. And today's guest, we have no other than Danitza. But let me tell y'all, man, listen. Danitza was so nervous getting on here. Man, military spouse, right? Real estate professional, right? And also most improved for 2021. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. But I've had a life. You know, I know both sides of life. I know what it is to live a life with money. I want to live a life without money.
And this
Do
is
money really truly make you happy?
No.
They create a comfortable life, but unless you have a purpose, money doesn't really matter. Believe in yourself a little bit. Don't doubt yourself. Because think about it. When you do doubt yourself, half of the battle is lost. You can't really win. I definitely say don't doubt yourself. A lot of military spouses are kind of losing their personalities because it's hard. You're following the service member.
That's heavy.
And it becomes a time to where, you know, you are fully invested in the Marine Corps or the military lifestyle in general, whether it's Navy or, you know, it doesn't matter the branch.
Good afternoon. This is Anthony Glenn checking in with the Sitrep podcast where we help you win in real estate. And today's guest, we have no other than Danitza. Let me tell y'all, man, listen. Danitza was so nervous getting on here. Man, military spouse, right? Real estate professional, right? And also most improved for 2021. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Indeed. So we met on Instagram. No, not Instagram. We met on Facebook, right? We became friends. What year was that?
2018.
2018. Right? You were already a very savvy person in regard to investing, right? So when you came over here, you basically wanted to purchase a property, right?
I've always had it on my mind, yes, that I guess I should kind of like, you know, back in the story of how it started.
Yep.
I came here from Europe through a student exchange program. So in Europe, the mindset most people are, you have to invest in real estate. Everyone owns a home, right? No one's really rents. So when I came to the States, it was just shocking for me why people are renting, why so many people are renting.
Right.
So long story short, it took me over 10 years to convince my husband that we should buy it. Yes.
Totally stubborn.
I almost gave up the idea, of owning, almost. Like I've always knew I'll do this one day, sooner or later. It will come to me. But when we moved to San Diego, I was like, now is the time.
That's good, man. And then I want to talk about, where you come from. Okay. So where were you raised?
I was born in Bulgaria. That's Eastern Europe. Went to school to Germany, and then my parents moved to Spain. I was 13, 14 years old when they moved to Spain. So I was moving a lot, yes.
And how did you meet Tori?
Well, as I said, I came here on a student exchange program, and I worked with his mom. So his mom introduced us.
Really?
She introduced us before he joined the military. So it was literally a few months before boot camp.
And then that's all she wrote.
And then he told her he's going to marry me. Yeah. The first time he met me, he saw me, he told his mom he's going to marry me. And 4 years later, we married. He never gave up.
That's good. So I met Tori at MCRD San Diego. He did a VA home loan class, and then he told me, call my wife. She's the one who handles the money. Now, I definitely want to talk about, I really, really want to unpack your transition from being a military spouse into the real estate industry. What made you get into the real estate industry?
As I said, I grew up with the mindset of owning your own home. And I was always kind of struggling here. Why are we always paying rent? Whether we lived on base or not, the BH, the military, service member receives always went to someone else.
Yep.
And it bothered me all these years, but I could not explain it to my husband that his, money literally are going down the drain. How it started. Well, I've always dreamed of California, right? Growing up in Europe, California, and the Hollywood movies was something just to dream about.
Uh-huh.
When we started moving from base to base, we were on the East Coast. We were in Lejeune in North Carolina. We ended up in 29 pounds. So I was so hoping that, we would come, whether it's Pendleton or MCRD. And I had it in the back of my mind that once I end up here, we will purchase a home, 100%. I knew this even back in Lejeune. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't know how exactly that will happen, that you are going to be a big part of it. So yes, after my husband met you, he called me and he said, well, okay, you know what? Let's buy a home. I was 7 months pregnant. I was going to school.
Yep.
I dropped absolutely everything. And I was like, Nitsa, now is your time.
Yeah.
Now is your time. I remember it was May. It was like 105 degrees in Temecula, Murrieta area.
Yeah.
And I looked at over 47 homes.
Yep.
I was definitely not an easy client until I found, what I wanted. And it's funny because not even a year later, my husband was like, when are we buying a second one? You were so right. And in my head, it was like, if you just, would have listened to me 10 years ago. Yes.
Men don't listen.
They don't.
But that's good, though, because, one thing that I've noticed about you is that you work so hard. You always serve people. And then also you're thoroughly immersed in the military spouse industry. Where do you get that passion from? Because I know it was a rocky start in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. You were putting a lot of work in on social media. How did you create your momentum?
Well, there are a few questions in this question. How I created my momentum was just following my passion.
Yep.
And purpose. One thing through all these years being a military spouse was I was always kind of secretly jealous of my husband. Yes. I was like, wow. I died to have a job with a purpose, right? To have a job that does not feel as a job, a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I'm going to go back. At the beginning, the Marine Corps was something I could not relate. The military life in general, the cultural shock was one thing. Because I've been everywhere in Europe, but I've never been in the States. So I thought I'm very open-minded, but I'll confess, I was kind of judgmental. I could not understand a lot of things. Well, imagine you're changing cultures. From changing cultures, you're dropped on base. It's a completely different life.
I didn't think about that because then now you're pretty much forced into the culture of the military life.
Which has nothing to do with the civilian life and the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Literally nothing. A lot of people think outside of the military, they understand what a military service member is going through, but they really don't and can't. And there is no judgment, but unless you live through something, you can't really fully comprehend the sacrifice, right? Like people can tell you a story, but different stories about the military, but unless you are going through it and, living through it, you don't really comprehend. So at the beginning, it was extremely hard. I remember we were in Lejeune. I called him, and he's like, oh, just go to the commissary. And I'm like, what is a commissary? I never even heard of that word. What the heck? And then he's like, well, building 4278. So I get in the car, and I try to find building 4278. All darn buildings look the same.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yep.
Red
on base,
bricks.
yeah.
I was lost. It took me all day. But I'm like, I'll find it regardless. And I did. So, it was hard. I could not relate. Mm-hmm. But as I said, I always question, why is he doing it? It's not like he makes this crazy money, right?
Right.
It's not like we have this awesome lifestyle. He was always gone. Now with the family, if he's not deployed, he was out at the field or he would come back. And his days are like 5 a.m., 7, 8 p.m.
Wait. I definitely want to pause on that because I really got to unpack that. So basically what you're saying is that you have to be the husband and the wife because the husband is not home, raising kids, family life, and then now try to throw a wrench in there with a job is difficult, right?
It is. It's not easy, but what's easy? Nothing worth having is really easy.
Yeah.
So you can't just think like, oh, it's hard and, give up. And I think that was my biggest struggle in real estate at the beginning, doubting myself, right? I'm extremely self-critical person. And I always give like 100%. Yes, 100%.
You used to make me so mad. I'd be like, Denitza,
Yes.
you're going to be fine. Dude, continue. I remember this because you're such a perfectionist, right? I would see you do, you would keep posting and posting and posting and doing stuff on social media and serving people. And then, boom, now you have clients in abundance. Tell me how that transition was for you. Because I know there were some people with some momentum that started a little bit before you, right? But then you started getting your momentum. Talk to us about that.
I think the momentum came when I removed all the distractions. Prior to that, when I started, you kind of are like dropped without knowing anything about it in regards of like the job.
Right.
But I've never really took it as a job. To me, real estate is not a job. It's a lifestyle.
Yep.
And because I'm so self-critical, it was the fear of doing something wrong, not that I'll make a mistake, because everyone does, but not helping, not being good enough, or not doing the best and the most for the person who is trusting me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This was my biggest struggle. Once I removed all distractions and I focused on how I can help.
Service.
Yes.
Yeah.
How I can help. It's easy.
It is.
Super easy.
It is easy, yep.
I love it. As I said, it's a lifestyle. It's not a job. And to me, it's like I don't have clients. I really don't. I don't see it as a 9-to-5 job and I'm like talking with a client on the phone. It's families that I relate to, I understand, we live the same lifestyle, and I'm very passionate about. And again, I came to the moment of my life to where I have a purpose too. The same as my husband. I serve the military families the best way I can. The same way, we were always pretty much nothing in the savings all these years, right? It's hard for a military wife to have a career because you're moving every year, every 2 years. Our daughter is 14. She had until 8th grade 7 different schools. So imagine.
Wait.
Imagine a wife that's moving so much.
7 different schools.
She's been in 7 different schools.
So now you have to, so you, not only are you managing the family, you're managing the finances, you're trying to keep, the family focus as well. And then now you throw an occupation in there. That's a lot.
If you see it as an occupation, I don't. It's part of my lifestyle. At the beginning, everyone was, adjusting to it, not really happy because everyone was used to mom always being there for the family 24/7, 100% of the time. And I'm not saying I'm not doing it this now, but to me it's important to serve people outside of the family as well.
So, and the reason why, and this is something that is the hardest part for me to, and this is something that I struggle, that when you love something, there will be evidence of it. The money is a small reward from, serving families, but the relationship that you build, they are an extension of who you are. And then, that's what I notice about how you do your business, right? You serve people. I remember a good friend of mine, Red Stanton, right? Now, let me tell y'all how magnificent this young lady is. She would drive all the way from serving the community in Oceanside, California, all the way up to Riverside County, showing properties up there for nothing, right? and then became an extension of the family and then continued to serve the family following, right? She had a drink on that one.
I don't see it as it's for nothing because money is not everything.
Yep.
So to me, I've never really looked at it as, it's for nothing.
Right.
Because money are good, but I've had a life, I know both sides of life. I know what is to live a life with money and what is to live a life without money. And do money really truly make you happy?
No.
They create a comfortable life, but unless you have a purpose, money don't really matter.
Now, I do have another question for you. So going from not working and taking care of the family to a six-figure agent, what does that feel like?
You are going to get me emotional here. It's crazy because, I came on a student exchange program, and I remember I had $80 in my pocket, and I rode a bike for the first year being here. I don't even think about the bank account. When you ask a question like that, it's crazy to even think about. But I don't even look at it as me being successful because I came here with, nothing, and now I have whatever I have in the bank account. It doesn't even matter because you know what I was thinking driving here? If someone needs something, any kind of help, and calls me and I need like $3,000, I won't even think twice about it. Just knowing that I'm helping someone. But if I go and eat somewhere and my bill is $100, I'm like, oh crap, I hate that. Do you know why though? I do. Do you know why? Because me going somewhere indulging like good food, yeah, it's fun, right? It's a good time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But it's something that comes to me that I'm putting back in me. So it's a self-pleasure
Right.
type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more when you're helping someone else in need. So the money for me I don't indulge in like material things, really.
Yeah. And I do want to ask another question too. So now you've been in real estate, this is your third year, right?
2 years and 4 months.
Going on your third year. So the reason why I wanted to have you on the show and I was pulling it, I'm telling y'all, listen, it was like pulling teeth to get Denisa on the show because she just wants to put the work in. So I really appreciate you being here. But I wanted military spouses to hear this story. And the reason why is because my sister, her husband served in the Marine Corps, right? And he was a Prowler pilot. And she had 3 kids. And one of those kids, she had to deliver herself. She had to drive herself to the hospital and deliver a child.
Wow.
And she was out of the workforce for approximately 9 years. And she has a graduate degree. And the absolute best job that she could get going back in the workforce was $42,000 with 2 degrees. So I think there's a huge problem with the United States and getting the servicemen and women's spouse back into the workforce because of all of the sacrifices. But you are definitely an example of how it can be done, right? So what advice would you give a military spouse looking back at Denisa 2.5 years ago? What advice would you give them in regard to getting into the workforce?
I'd say if I can do it, anyone can, especially, I was not born here. I did not grow up here. I did not go to school here. I mean, I finished my degree in 29 Palms. There was like nothing really to do, so I did it. But if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I think the main thing is a lot of military spouses are kind of losing their personalities because it's hard. You're following the service member.
That's heavy.
And it becomes a time to where, you are fully invested in the Marine Corps or the military lifestyle in general, whether it's Navy, or, it doesn't matter the branch. Pretty much a lot of the wives are, they take care of the home, take care of the kids, and they move every 2 to 3 years.
So it's hard to get established.
Completely. Not only that, the moment you finally find some friends and friendship and relationship and network, you have to move and start everything over again.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. And as a spouse, you are seeing your husband
elevate
or wife
get
elevate,
promoted. Yeah.
get promoted, and you feel like, what am I doing, right? Who am I? So a lot of the spouses relate to the husband.
In that moment, you know what? I just had a breakthrough. I now understand your purpose. So real estate was basically like a breakthrough for you for growth, internal growth, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
That's why she's like, I ain't moving California.
I ain't. No.
Good luck.
I mean, I believe I'd make it anywhere.
Yeah.
I do believe. But most importantly is, I just want to be a resource to people, and example to wives, to any wife that thinks she can't do it. Because you can. There's so many opportunities.
Yeah. So, and I'm glad that we talked about this, because now I understand, like, you just don't want to be limited to raising a family, right? There's so much more opportunity for you.
Which is so unfair. Sometimes you hear that, like, oh, you're a stay-at-home mom, almost like, or what are you?
That's
just
a full-time job.
It is a full-time job, but a lot of people see it as it's not enough.
Without getting paid.
Right? You're not getting paid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And think about lower ranked spouses, especially here in California with 2 kids. It's hard. It's a really hard life to live, especially now.
Yeah.
A lot of wives are struggling. I can't be, focused on my bank account. There is absolutely no way.
Yeah. Now, one thing that before we get, this has been a really good podcast, man.
We can keep going.
It's so heavy, man. It's good, because I think people need to know, spouses, women, and men that serve the community, we really appreciate you guys and all of the sacrifice that you make. But I wanted to get this message out, because this is what can potentially happen. And the possibility is boundless. And now I understand. So there's people that's going to watch this and say, I'm a military spouse and I feel that way. Out of 20 years of serving in the Marine Corps, I never did realize that how hard it was. But your voice now explains how a lot of people are doing, But now you're the example that you can grow in a business, in real estate, and then it adds to the direction that you're going in. So that's good, man.
Which can be hard too, because very often, being a military spouse, you are the main support, not only for the kids, for your husband as well, the glue. And when I say support, it's crucial. The service member growth. How do I want to say that? It's not an easy job to be a military spouse.
Right.
100%. Mm-hmm. So not only you take care of the house and the kids, you do take care of the person you marry. Not, what I mean is not in, just the house or the clothes, or you are his main support in his career too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So essentially,
it does affect his life at home, how he's going to perform at work. Yeah.
So basically, you not only is he coming home mentally dumping, right? You, based off of how you have to support him so he can be the best version of himself when he comes outside the house. That's what you're trying to explain, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
Makes sense.
I totally understand it.
But imagine how hard that is for a spouse who is literally like lost,
receiving
right? What do I do not only she's living this lifestyle that almost most of the time, most wives think I have no options, right? Because I'm moving so much. I
Right.
can't really establish anything because every 2 years is something new. But on top of it, you are invested in your other half career as well.
And this is something that I think that the military does. Like right now, who has reached out to you to ask you, how are you dealing with your husband coming back from deployment? I mean, let's really think about that. Like coming back from deployment, like I don't think that the military does a really good job at focusing on the spouses and actually seeing what they need outside of the family readiness. It's much more to that. Like what you just explained to me is such a ball of rubber bands that you pluck one, and then you're dealing with finances, you're dealing with children that have emotionally highs and lows, you're dealing with a kid that's a teenager, you're dealing with the husband taking off his armor and being at home. Now he's going back out, so you have to get prepared for that. So it's an emotional roller coaster, right? It's a lot.
You gotta stay focused.
Yep.
You just have to stay focused.
Yep.
And just one day at a time, keep doing what you are supposed to be doing.
Now I do have one more question for you, and then we'll wrap up. What advice would you give Denisa Broom the first 30 days as a real estate professional?
Believe in yourself a little bit more. Don't doubt yourself. Because think about it. When you do doubt yourself, half of the battle is lost. You can't really win. I definitely say don't doubt yourself.
Oh, you was doubting the hell out of yourself. I'm like, Denisa, man.
I did.
Denisa, man, you gonna kill it. You gonna kill it. And then she's like, oh, I got 3 sales. I got 5 sales. I got 10 sales. I need to do more. I need to do more. I need to do more. And then now you're like, I'm so busy. I got 19 buyers.
Do you know why though? Yes. Do you know why? Because when I started, that was all I would hear, right?
Right.
And this is exactly what I meant. I felt like I can do a lot more when I removed all the distractions I had and focused. Because when I started, all I would hear is numbers, volume,
yeah.
sales.
Yep.
So I perceive that as you're as good as, the more sales you have, the better you are. If you don't have it, you're average. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, outside
kind of
influence.
Like, yes.
Right.
But I've always been focused on
doubling down on the relationships.
I want to reach far, meaning people. I want to touch people. I don't want to do it fast. Numbers don't matter to me in regards of commission or sales or what's the number that's going to be under my picture, right?
Yep.
To me, the most important thing was how many people I can reach. 100% from the bottom of my heart, never ever looked at numbers. So I was discouraged in a lot of ways, and I was discouraging myself, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning, and I've questioned it many times. I mean, I probably cried the whole first year. Can I do that? Lord, can I do this? I don't think I'm meant to do this. But deep inside, I knew this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. I knew I'm good at it. I knew that, and it's funny. Sometimes, you work with people and you tell them, just trust me. And they met you for a second or third time. How do I trust her? I don't even know her.
Yep.
I'm like, just trust me. And a lot of times, people we work with, they don't understand exactly what you're explaining. You can explain 100 times what we're going through, but unless you go through it, a lot of families I've worked with, they call me 2-3 weeks after they close on a home and be like, Denisa, now I understand.
Yeah, it clicks.
So yeah,
right after they get those keys.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, that was always to me how far I can get in regards to touching as many people, helping as many people as I can, and that's exactly what a life with a purpose is.
Yep.
Numbers just
Don't
numbers,
matter.
It's
Keep your head down and put in the
empty.
work. Yep.
Right. It is empty. There is nothing more. Nothing brings me more pleasure than, and joy than putting a smile on someone's face. And another thing, just like, a year after we own a home and my husband saw the equity we have in this house and he saw the numbers and he was like, wow, that is crazy. Can we buy another one?
Mm-hmm.
I just if I can give the feeling to every single person
That you
that
had.
is serving the country that he had, and I can see the face he had, I won't sleep.
Yeah.
I do it. I'd work 24/7 because that's when you've changed a life.
A life. Yep. This is beautiful, man. This has been a really, really great podcast. Now, like I said once before, you have to be thoroughly immersed in the culture. We've always been saying, focus on the people. The people are the most important thing. If you're driven in your purpose and you know why you're doing what you're doing, the labor pains in between doesn't matter because you know that in that process is going to be a little bit of rain, right? You're going to have a little bit of struggle. You're going to get a little bit stressed out. But the reward is delivering those keys and getting a military family in the home. And if more people would focus on that, then they'll have business in abundance because it doesn't matter about the money. The money will come, right?
It does. And there is another thing. In life, you can't keep what you're not willing to give away. You can't keep it.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a nugget, right? That's a hot chicken nugget fresh out of the grease from Chick-fil-A, baby.
You can't.
You don't deserve what you're not willing to give away. And also, you do not deserve what you're willing to, you do not deserve what you're not willing to work for or sacrifice for. You get exactly what you give.
100%. And it comes back double to
Yep.
you. It always comes back.
It does. It does. Now, Denitza, how can military spouses reach out to you and to talk about their, how they're, dealing with some of their stuff, and then also about if they want to become a real estate professional, how can they reach you?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Denitza Broom. And that's it. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook.
Or selling houses to
Or-
military vets and service members. Denitza, thank you for coming. We really appreciate this. Hey, this podcast is coming to a theater near you. And guess what? Breaking news, okay? Denitza is going to be bringing on some clients that served in the military. They actually closed on their property. And guess what? We're going to be also talking about two big things. Number one, in California, they just changed the taxes for home buyers. Okay, so that means that if you're a disabled veteran, you do not have to pay property taxes. Number two, guess what? If you are a retired service member, the military has made your income tax-free. If you want more information about that, hit us up on wire10k.com and follow us on Instagram. And hey, let's go.